Ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube universe, what is going on with you? On this Saturday afternoon, it is Saturday, April 6th, 2024, roughly 2:04 p.m. California time. I am, of course, your always gracious host, Fallon from GoNootropics.com, coming at you with the coffee. Cheers. Good to see all of you rolling through on this Saturday. This is, of course, day number 19, No Kratom. Day number 1, water fast, right? 3-day water fast. Day number 19, baby. No Kratom, keeping the train rolling. Yesterday, I don't know what it was. But yesterday was like a really good day. A really good day, like mentally, physically. I started swallowing at like 90% capacity for the first time since I quit Kratom. Even when I was taking Kratom, like I couldn't swallow my food. I've mentioned this in other videos. One of you guys mentioned enzymes, which I'll flick up here on the screen. So I took some NAC yesterday. I drank my typical coffee like I usually do, and I took this enzyme, and I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the combination. You know, I'm thinking I've got this acid reflux problem, maybe from taking the Kratom. I don't know. I am not Dr. Berg over here. I have no idea. The thing that put me off from calling it acid reflux is because I wasn't experiencing like heartburn or anything like that. But I would notice, like, on occasion, it would feel like something was indeed like coming up and coating my throat. And sometimes, like, my voice would get really hoarse. So I did kind of zero in on the acid reflux thing. And so, yeah, one of you guys mentioned Now Foods super enzymes, but I didn't have that. We had this here, so I took one of those. And that seemed to, I don't know if that resolved the problem, but last night we ate dinner and I'm swallowing like pretty dang good. And like throughout the whole day, I'm feeling like almost as if the pink cloud phase, the phase was back, the pink cloud phase. And feeling mentally sharp, feeling like physically healthy and having energy. And the sex drive coming back on day number 19. So I don't know. I don't know. Was this a combination of the NAC and the enzymes? You know, maybe the enzymes provided some kind of like psychological thing in my brain. Maybe it was because it was almost like I was developing an anxiety around eating, because like it honestly felt a lot of times like I was going to choke on the food. I was just going to choke. I was going to keel over. You know, it's like, what a way to go. Just to conk out and just choke out in your studio apartment in California. You know, like, what a way to go. And it honestly felt like that, like every time I swallowed. It was just eating became a very anxious thing. Eating became something I didn't even want to do, and kind of gave me an excuse to do this fast, because I'm like, well, maybe the fast will clear some of this stuff up, right? Maybe the fast will help with the acid reflux. But I took this, I think it's called Enzymedica Repair Gold. This has some enzymes that are supposed to help with the acid reflux. And yeah, the thing about the acid reflux is most people will take antacids, but for a lot of people, it's not enough acid, which, as one of you guys pointed out, you have this like esophageal sphincter, they call it, that closes when it detects acid in the stomach, so it doesn't let the acid come up into your throat. And if you don't have enough stomach acid, that sphincter apparently doesn't close. which allows the acid to flow into your throat. And yeah, a lot of times I go to do a video like this and I'm like, man, my voice is just like, it's like super hoarse. It's like there's no power in the voice. And sometimes I just don't do videos because I'm like, I don't even like the sound of my voice right now. So yeah, this is like an acid reflux thing that maybe these enzymes are helping. I can't imagine it would help on the first day. All I know is yesterday was a pretty good day. I was swallowing normally. I could feel kind of like my voice wasn't coated in the acid. So, I'll continue taking this and see. So thank you to the subscriber who pointed out these enzymes, yeah, you guys are dialed in too. So we're here on day number 19, feeling better and just hoping that this 3-day fast just kind of burns off the remnants of whatever's going on. I've been doing the research into the fasting. And yeah, it's supposed to be really good for like neuroinflammation, which is what I'm most concerned about, right? Because it's like a lot of days I wake up and it's like you feel like the brain is inflamed or you feel like there's glitches in the brain. You feel like the brain is just misfiring and like something has built up. There's something, some kind of plaque or whatever in the brain. Not plaque, but just something wrong, just something going on in the brain that's just not good. So I'm hoping the fasting clears up some of this neuroinflammation, which of course we know inflammation is the cause of all these diseases. Every single disease is just linked to just, we're just inflamed. We're eating the seed oils. We're eating the soy. We're eating the processed foods. And yeah, so today's day number 1 of the 3-day water fast. Just hoping, well, I say water fast, but I'm obviously also drinking coffee, which won't break the fast. And I don't know, maybe that's helpful, maybe it's not, but I can't imagine giving up coffee. I'm still on the nicotine. That was another part of the plan. Well, that was one part of the plan that's not going according to plan. I'm still taking the nicotine. I don't know, man. This is tough. I'm not going to lie. Giving up the nicotine is tough. I don't want to. That's the thing. I don't think I want to give it up. Part of me does. That's what happened with Kratom. Is it got to a point where like I really wanted to get it out of my life. I was feeling like shit. It makes you limp in the pants. All these things it does, and you do get to a point where you want to give the thing up. Like you genuinely want to give the thing up. And I talk about this in the book. It's like you have to want to give it up. If you don't want to give it up, or you're like half-ass about it and you're like, well, maybe it's a good idea that I give this up. Well, you're going to fail because you're really not fully committed. Every time I come off Kratom, I usually succeed in the short term because in my brain, I'm 100% committed to just giving it up and getting it out of my life because I just know, I logically know it's not good for me, just like I logically knew the booze wasn't good for me. And, I want to go to the next level. And Kratom just kind of keeps you stuck at the level you're at, right? And you might even be descending levels, but you really don't know you're descending because the Kratom masks a lot of these problems, right? And then you quit, you wake up to the burning house fire. And yeah, so I think the key with a lot of these things is just you have to want to do it. And nicotine is almost more challenging because similar to Kratom in comparison to other drugs doesn't really, it takes a long time before the side effects build up to the point where they really stare at you in the face. I've talked about this till I'm blue in the face. Kratom is so insidious because you just don't, it doesn't give you any good reasons to quit, at least in the short term. But if you push it beyond a year, at least for me, the side effects become so glaring that you do just end up hitting the kratom rock bottom, right? It's not a rock bottom like maybe you'd experience with alcohol or other drugs, but it is like a rock bottom where you're like, man, this just, it's not producing the fruits. It's not producing the fruits anymore. So it's that firm decision to quit that I might get there with nicotine. It was certainly easier to maybe stop smoking cigarettes because smoking cigarettes is obviously extremely consequential to your health. It's getting into your lungs. It's like you're winded walking upstairs. It's a cancer-causing agent, right? Carcinogen. So it's like you can make a firm decision to quit cigarettes because there are so many problems that glare at you in the face. But with like the pouches, it is a little harder because, it's not getting into your lungs. It's it's just harder for a lot of different reasons. So I don't know. I might quit the nicotine after the fast, but it's difficult to quit nicotine. Once again, days and days of nonstop cravings, and I just don't know if I want to stack that on top of, going through this 3-day fast, because the 3-day fast is going to be a challenge in and of itself. But the fast I'm kind of excited about. Day number 1, yeah, you're going to get the hunger pains. I've done a few of these in the past. I don't think I've ever gone beyond 3 days. I think the most I made it was 4 days. The thing about fasting is you don't get hungry. Like after the second or third day, like those hunger pains just stop and you actually don't crave food at all. So it's like, it's like kratom. It's the first couple days. Well, no, it's the opposite. With kratom, it's like the first couple days are easy. With fasting, it's like the first couple days are the hardest. And then it gets progressively easier, over time. You get less hungry. You don't have the cravings. You enter into like a ketosis and your body just, it's kind of like, okay, well, I guess we're doing this. And you enter into almost, it's like a survival mode. Your body is now starting to produce more adrenaline, more cortisol, because it's trying to stimulate you to go find food. So fasting's great for if you're like a low energy person, low energy, depressed, apathetic person. Fasting can be really good because it's going to give you those endorphins to go out and get some food. So it can be, you do start to feel actually really good. On like the tail end of day number 2 and day 3, your whole mental state kind of changes. You feel more peaceful. And then you break your fast and you come off and hopefully you don't go back to the toxic foods you were eating before. So I'm excited to do the fast. Maybe yesterday's good mood was just, once again, it's like that pink cloud excitement of just doing something. It's like you start a fast or you start working out or you're about to go on a trip. There's kind of like that initial excitement that you're doing something new. And I think that's the key for the addict. Once you become the coffee AA guy, it's just about giving your brain something to be excited about, right? Giving your brain something to look forward to, accomplishing challenges and just kind of doing stuff, right? It's a big old world out there. It's a giant world, and you have to go explore it. You got to go travel a little bit if you want. I'm not huge on traveling. But you have to give the brain something. The brain does need something. It does need a little bit of danger. It does need to be stimulated. You do need to be, in an environment where you're kind of like looking around and everything is new. And that is kind of what snaps you out of that apathy, snaps you out of the depression. And that's just the key. You can't quit these things and just sit in the studio all day, or you're just going to go back to the thing. And that's the big problem for the addict who comes off. He doesn't change anything about his lifestyle. He's hanging out with the same friends, right? And so inevitably you just go back to what you were doing, because drugs are they're just that quick fix. They're that quick dopamine hit. But we all know the consequences of that. So it's about finding that natural high, right? It's about finding that natural high. And one thing I will note about this acid reflux thing is this all started when I started taking the No Kratom powder. This was something important I wanted to mention. From Okies. I'm not saying Okies is a bad vendor, but Oki Kratom does sell a lot of this No Kratom. So this is kratom powder that's been really finely ground into nano-sized particles, which the body has a hard time eliminating. If you're taking this nano powder, or you're taking anything of a really small size, I don't know they call it nano powder, but I don't know if it's actually ground into actual nano size. But that stuff sticks around. It's harder for the body to eliminate the nano stuff. And so taking all that nano powder, that's kind of when this problem that I had with swallowing and this problem with the acid reflux really started to become inflamed after I started taking the nano powder. So that's just anecdotal. I don't have any proof. I don't know if what they call nano powder is actually nano sized, right? Because nano is a specific diameter. But yeah, the body has a hard time eliminating the nano, and it really just sticks inside of you. It's coating everything. Your body has a hard time eliminating it. So maybe avoid that. If you're taking this nano powder and you're experiencing some of these similar symptoms, consider just switching to normal kratom. It's like, yeah, that powder will hit you a lot faster. Like nano kratom does hit you in like 10 minutes. Somebody mentioned this in the Discord. Yeah, the nano powder will hit you faster, but it's also so small that it just embeds itself. And the body has a hard time eliminating anything that's small. It has a hard time flushing that out, and it just kind of sticks around and could cause more problems for you. Right, so this is day number 19 of the No Kratom Challenge. Once again, I would call this, we're still in the short term, baby. And the short term has always been the easiest. It's the long term. It's like quitting can be such a gargantuan effort because, you kind of know you'll come off in the short term. At least I know I'll come off in the short term, but it's like, what's going to happen 6 months down the road, 7 months, 8 months? And it's like that anxiety of the future, right? It's the anxiety of the future. And, wondering what's going to happen. Will you do it for the long haul? I have a pretty good feeling about this because it's starting to become reminiscent of when I quit alcohol. It took me a few times to do it, but I eventually did. And, it'll be 4 years at the end of the year. Day number 1 of the fast. I will end the fast, I think, on April 8th or 9th when the solar eclipse, right? The total, is it a solar or lunar eclipse? I don't know. But we're starting to see the doomsday channels pop up, which I love the doomsday stuff. I'm not going to lie. I like watching doomsday. I like seeing, a potential end to the world. I don't know why. It's just, I like watching that stuff. I think it does kind of stimulate. It's like almost like a fear response. This is what they do. It's all fear. And that fear also becomes addictive. It's like an anxiety. Your body releases endorphins and fear hormones. So you watch these things and you get yourself worked up into like a fear, which like will relieve your depression temporarily. When you're in that fear state, you're releasing cortisol, you're releasing adrenaline, and that could be good. But I watch these videos, and as soon as I hear the pitch for the solar power generator, or as soon as I hear the pitch for the survival flashlight, I'm just out of there. I'm just out of there. A lot of Christians get into that stuff, and they get into the predictions, and they think this is when Jesus is coming back. But the Bible is very clear that nobody knows the day or the hour, right? Nobody knows. He comes like a thief in the night. Some guy on YouTube doesn't know the day or the hour, but he is happy to sell you the survival flashlight as if that's what you should be most concerned about. It's like, oh, all hell is breaking loose. You better get this flashlight while it's on sale, baby. Get the generator, get the flashlight, and you're going to power through. So as soon as I hear that, I'm kind of checked out and moving on. So here we are on day number 19, ladies and gentlemen, keeping the train rolling as always. Fallon, gonootropics.com. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And I will see you very soon. Peace.